I was branching out. That's when the cannibalism started, eating of the heart and the arm muscle.
Sorry, wait. Branching out. What a line. When it comes to Jeffrey Dahmer, there are two interviews that come up more than anything. The Dateline NBC sit-down with Stone Phillips, where he's with his dad, and this one from Inside Edition. I already went through the Stone Phillips interview, and a lot of you in the comments kept saying, you gotta watch the Inside Edition one too. So, that's what I'm doing. Just a quick warning, I will be interrupting. I'm going to be pausing the video to talk basically whenever I feel like it, but hey, it's my channel. It's kind of the whole point. And, just to say it, I'm not a profiler, and I'm certainly not a psychologist or trained professional of any kind. Just a regular guy sitting here watching this with you, thinking it through. All right, let's press play.
So when I sat down opposite Jeffrey Dahmer for this interview, I wondered what he would tell me, how hard it would be to get him to discuss his horrific crimes. What I found was that he was very forthcoming. He volunteered details that may be difficult to hear. I began by asking what he wanted from the men he picked up.
I had these obsessive desires and thoughts wanting to control them, to, I don't know how to put it, possess them permanently.
And that's why you killed them?
Right. Not because I was angry with them, not because I hated them, but because I wanted to keep them with me.
Recently I did a video on King Von and whether or not he was a serial killer. And there was huge debate in the comments about, he loved doing it. He would tweet about it. He did this, that, he did that. But it all came back to, for me anyways, it all came back to something like this. You hear what Dahmer just said there? It's like, not because I hated them, not because they whatever. It was because of something that was from inside of him, right? In Vaughn's case, it was always the case of like, this person disrespected so-and-so, or they disrespected me, or they did this to me, or that, external things affecting them. That's not the same. For Dahmer, it's coming from inside. The victims of all 17 of them, not one of them did anything to him.
And as my obsession grew, I was saving body parts such as skulls and skeletons.
Jeffrey Dahmer is recalling his monstrous past. Almost 2 years ago in this little apartment in Milwaukee, police discovered the grisly remnants of one of the most horrible crime sprees in American history.
That footage there, right, of those blue, whatever they are, barrels that he had in his apartment coming down the stairs. Those are, to me, like some of the most, like, I don't want iconics, like maybe the wrong word, but almost, right? Like notorious, maybe infamous footage that just screams to me like serial killer. I just remember that stuff. I don't remember if it was at the time, because it's 91. I'm very young, I'm only 7. But the images of that, somehow, it's just so much more, these guys in the hazmat suits, things like this, right? That type of discovery, the freezer coming out. I think it's from watching the A&E biography and things like that in the mid-90s, late 90s, early 2000s, where they replay that type of footage. It's such a image for me. I don't know about you guys.
Jeffrey Dahmer, an unassuming chocolate factory worker, would eventually confess that he had seduced, murdered, and dismembered 17 young men.
Referring to him as a chocolate factory worker, it's like, yeah, it was like one job that he had. It seems to me like it's the reporter's way of like, it's like the John Wayne Gacy clown thing, except that's more relevant even for Gacy, right? It's like, oh, he worked in a chocolate factory, like Willy Wonka. It's like describing him as a chocolate factory worker, like it was part of his identity, is just kind of silly. I think it's grabby for that kind of headline, if you will.
He even ate some of his victims' body parts. He instantly became the center of worldwide media attention, a serial killer unmasked. There were protests and press conferences in Milwaukee as people tried to understand how this could have happened in their midst. How did Jeffrey Dahmer get away with murder after murder for 13 years? How did a boy born into a hard-working middle-class family turn into the worst kind of monster imaginable? In this exclusive interview, we put those questions to Jeffrey Dahmer himself. We met with him at the maximum security prison where he is serving his sentence of 999 years.
So 999 years. Is that just like the the maximum? For some reason, there's some sort of weird thing in the law where they can't say 1,000 years or like 1,012 years? Or did they like somehow end up with that number by actually adding up the various cases, and it just so happened to add up to 999? Like, why wouldn't the judge be like, well, let's just make it an even 1,000? It's just, it's just a weird, again, it's just a weird thing to say. 990, you're sentenced to 999 years behind bars.
It's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. When you depersonalize another person and view them as just an object for pleasure instead of a living, breathing human being, it seems to make it easier to do things you shouldn't do.
Yeah, I remember that from Silence of the Lambs, even like when was it the governor whose daughter is kidnapped? I can't remember. Somebody in politics' daughter is the one who's kidnapped by Buffalo Bill. And they talk about how smart she is to be using her name over and over and over in the press conference, calling her by her first, calling the kidnapped daughter by her first name so that whoever it is who has her is forced to see them as an individual, as a person, not an object. Because to them, you know, the person's an object. You give it a name, all of a sudden, they're dealing with Catherine, not just this object. I think it was Catherine. I can't remember, sorry, but, you know, it's interesting.
The reason why Jeffrey Dahmer was able to get away with his crimes was because of just what you are seeing here. Jeffrey Dahmer is intelligent and articulate. That is what makes him so frightening. But if you listen carefully to his words throughout this interview, you realize it is a thin disguise. You do sound, though, like the kind of person who could have said to himself, "This is wrong. I must stop."
I always knew that it was wrong, but after the first killing was not planned. I was
very common.
Coming back from the shopping mall back in '78. I'd had fantasies about picking up a hitchhiker and taking him back to the house and having complete control and dominance over him.
The hitchhiker's name was Stephen Hicks. He was just 18. Jeffrey Dahmer took him to his parents' house. There he strangled him with a barbell. He dismembered the body and hid it in a drain pipe. It was Jeffrey Dahmer who gave those details to the police in his confession.
No one had a clue as to what was happening for over a decade.
During that time, Jeffrey Dahmer joined the Army and was sent to Germany. He was eventually discharged for a drinking problem and returned to Ohio.
Where do they get this photo? Sorry, it's not funny, but like somebody like that's like, who took this picture, I wonder? You know, I'd love to know who took that picture and what the circumstances were. Is this when he was in the military, or is this just like a high school thing? Or, but yeah, it's classic. He's got the beer with him, his pants are undone, passed out.
9 years after Stephen Hicks' murder, the killing began again. What happened to you in the 9 years in between that you were able to stop, that you were able to control yourself?
It just wasn't an opportunity to fully express what I wanted to do. There was just not the physical opportunity to do it then. And I started, when I moved to Milwaukee in '81, I started reading pornography, going to the bookstores.
did one of these on Bundy, and he talked a lot about pornography, but I mean, that's because so many of these guys... Somebody asked in one of the videos recently, isn't what makes a serial killer that their crimes are sexually motivated? And I said, well, most of the time, but not always. Not every serial killer is actually motivated. And then I started to think about it, and I couldn't really come up with one that wasn't, right? So obviously these guys, I mean, there's a whole video coming out on that I'm going to do. That's basically about whether or not all of them are motivated by sex. Obviously, a big part of that is going to be, pornography is going to come into play with that for sure.
Eventually that led to frequenting the gay bars. And then one time I brought this young man back to the hotel room, the Ambassador Hotel. Was just planning on drugging him and spending the night with him. I had no intention of hurting him. When I woke up in the morning, he had a broken rib here, was heavily bruised. Apparently I had beaten him to death with my fists.
And you have no memory
I
of
have
it?
no memory of it. But that's what started the whole spree all over again.
I talked about that in the other Dahmer interview. Like I said, there's some overlap between this interview and the other one, obviously. Same crimes, same kind of questions. But the idea of blacking out that much that you can commit something so violent and so intense and not remember it. Crazy.
Dahmer says he snuck the corpse of his victim, Stephen Toomey, out of his hotel room in a suitcase. Then he took it to his grandmother's house, where he cut up the body and put it in plastic garbage bags. When you killed these men, afterwards, were you repulsed? Were you upset?
No, at the time, it was almost addictive. It was almost a surge of energy.
Addiction.
I wouldn't have to worry about any of their needs or anything. I just had complete control of the situation.
But Jeffrey Dahmer was out of control. The urge to kill had overpowered him. As police later learned, he wasn't satisfied with his victim's death. He wanted more. Why did you photograph them?
It was my way of remembering their appearance, their physical beauty. I also wanted to keep something. If I couldn't keep them there with me whole, at least I felt that I could keep their skeletons.
Not sure what that has to do with photographing them, but it's fucked up.
And I even went so far as planning on setting up an altar with the 10 different skulls and skeletons.
And what was the purpose of the altar going to be?
As a sort of memorial. A point where I could, I don't know. It's so bizarre and strange, it's hard to describe. A place where I could collect my thoughts and feed my obsession.
So a lot of times people will, maybe you put on, Calm from Apple Podcasts or whatever, calm.com or whatever it is, or listen to a meditation to calm down, relax, collect your thoughts, and his idea of that is to create an altar with 9 skulls. There's a drawing of it. I'll put it up on screen. He sketched it out, his drawing of what this kind of place for him to relax and collect his thoughts looked like in his mind, and it's bizarre.
When the bodies were still in your apartment, there was no time when you would see them and say, this is grotesque, what have I done?
There were times, but the compulsive obsession with doing what I was doing overpowered any feelings of revulsion.
This man with a quiet, almost shy demeanor became a master manipulator who was able to lure strangers he met at gay bars to his apartment. He was even able to con the police into returning a 14-year-old boy to him after neighbors called 911 upset that the child was in the street naked and bleeding. Dahmer...
That's like one of the most famous stories and the most tragic stories with the Dahmer case, right? If you've seen the show or anything on him or any documentary on him, that's gone over 1 million times, that they had it right there. They came to his apartment with someone who was drugged and nude and a minor, for God's sakes. And they just kind of returned. He said, oh, it's just a lover's quarrel. And, you know, with like the way police were back then with gay people in the gay community and stuff, it was kind of like, you guys deal with your own problems. Like, just awful.
Dahmer convinced the police that he and the boy were simply having a lover's quarrel.
Is a intoxicated boyfriend of another boyfriend.
How old was the child?
It wasn't a child, it was an adult.
After the police left, Jeffrey Dahmer murdered that boy, Conorak Synthesome. This man says he had a near-fatal encounter.
What I don't understand either is like, so when it turns up that this boy has gone missing, there was no connection. I get somehow there was no connection of this police report. I don't like, I guess not. I mean, I'm sure that's been beaten to death and it's just sheer incompetence, but it's wild.
Encounter with Jeffrey Dahmer.
He wanted to take some picture of my back. He hit me with a rubber hammer on my neck.
He was lucky to escape because by then the killing had become almost routine. Before you went out to pick up the man, was there any kind of ritual you went through?
I'd go to the nightclubs, drink, watch the striptease shows, and if I didn't meet anyone at the bars, I'd go to the bath clubs and
Okay, I've got a question. This may make me look like an idiot, but bath clubs, they're talking about them all the time. I don't, what is a bath? Is it just like a spa? Like when we go to like a Russian spa or something like that with like saunas and things? Or like, what is a bathhouse? Because they're talking about it constantly in these things, that he would go to the bathhouse to pick up people. And like the ones that I've been to, it's not an atmosphere for that. So I don't know. What is it? Tell me in the comments.
meet someone there, offer them money, and we'd go back to the apartment, have a few drinks. I'd have the sleeping pill mixture already prepared. Person would drink it, fall asleep, and that's when they would be strangled.
Watching the movie Exorcist 3 was also part of his ritual. It put him in the mood for murder.
I felt so hopelessly evil and perverted that I actually derived a sort of pleasure from watching that tape.
Did you like feeling
I've never seen Exorcist 3. You know what? Truth be told, I've never seen The Exorcist. Something about it creeps me out. And I just refuse to watch that movie. I don't know why, but like, I just don't watch it. But I've never seen it. I've seen obviously like clips and things, and I've even used clips from it in some of my episodes, but I've never ever seen the film. So I wonder what it was about Exorcist 3. What do you think it was about the third one?
Did you like feeling evil?
No, I didn't. But I tried to overcome the thoughts, and it worked for a while, but eventually I gave in.
While Jeffrey Dahmer may say things today that make it seem like he understands what went on in his mind.
Just real quick. So in the Bundy one, he said that he could no longer control it. It controlled him. And here Dahmer is saying that the compulsions became so strong that he gave in. I tend to, not that I'm agreeing with Dahmer, but it's not that he didn't have a choice. They controlled him. Is that he stopped trying eventually and he gave in to his own urges, right? It's a little bit, it's taking some responsibility, at least.
And on in his mind, he does not. All he can do is tell you what happened, but he cannot stop whatever it is that drove him to kill in the first place.
Do you still feel those same urges? Do you still feel that compulsion, that obsession?
I wish I could say that it just left completely, but no, there are times when I still do have the old compulsions.
Just because you're caught and just because you're arrested and in prison and no longer can do it doesn't mean that it's going to go away. It's a compulsion. It's an addiction. And it's weird because it's a mental addiction. Like if you're addicted to cigarettes, like I keep saying, and they lock you up and you're not allowed cigarettes, let's say, or you're on a desert island without cigarettes, after, whatever it is, 72, 48 hours, I can't remember. Nicotine's gone. You are no longer physically addicted, and all you're working on at that point is your mental addiction to the substance that you leaned on for so many years or whatever, right? And over time, you would get over that too with cigarettes. But with something like this, it's so hardwired into him, and it's strictly mental and sexual. It's never going away. It's just like if you went to jail as just like a regular straight person or gay person or whatever, you would still have sexual urges while you're in prison. Why would that stop? It's not going to stop. And for him, this is never going to stop.
And coming next, as we continue, Dahmer talks about how his obsessions became more and more out of control.
Remember this guy, side note? We'll do it live.
We'll do it live! Fuck it! Out of control.
I was dead set on going with this compulsion. It was the only thing that gave me any
This is ripped.
satisfaction.
This is ripped straight off TV, right? So we're getting like the little
Interview.
Bill, Jeffrey Dahmer says as time went on, his mind became more and more warped, and yet...
This lady's kind of scary looking. I mean, of the times, right? It's not her fault. Of the times. It's the hairstyling. And they're going to say that about us in 20 years too, of course. It's just funny.
He was clever enough to continue to elude police and lure young men to his apartment. We should warn you, the details are very graphic.
I started having these obsessive thoughts when I was about 15 and 16, and they got worse and worse.
What were your fantasies about?
They were sexual fantasies of control, power, complete dominance. They became reality.
So we're back again with the sexual element. Can you guys put one down in the comments? Who is a serial killer? I guess you could say Shipman. Harold Shipman. It was not sexually motivated, I don't think. But who else? Put it down below.
Was there pleasure in that fantasy?
There was excitement, fear, pleasure, all mixed together.
Jeffrey Dahmer fulfilled his fantasies by murdering and dismembering 17 young men. In time, his desires became more extreme, his deeds more grotesque. Listen to him talk about the most unnatural things in the most matter-of-fact of ways. That's when you realize that none of it has touched him.
I was branching out. That's when the cannibalism started, eating of the heart and the arm muscle.
Sorry, wait. Branching out. What a line. Eating a heart. Branching out. Branching out from just murder, I guess he means. But I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because it's so deranged. And then to call it branching out.
It was a way of making me feel that they were a part of me. At first it was just curiosity, and then it became compulsive. Then I tried to keep the person alive by inducing a zombie-like state. By injecting first dilute acid solution into their brain or hot water. And it never did completely work.
Could someone like you
Completely work, he says, as if it kind of did. It didn't work. And they talk about Dahmer being smart. It just seems like, I mean, like, did he do some research on that? Or like, what are the effects of me like drilling in someone's head and putting acid? What books do you take out on that at the library? I don't know. But I mean, with the internet now, who knows? But it doesn't seem like the smartest thing to me. It seems like a guy who is so depraved, and he's just escalating and escalating. And it's like he's gone from wanting to just drug people and lay with them and keep them with him to murdering them to achieve that. And then after a while, he's like, okay, I'm going to try maybe eating some of them to see if that makes them feel more like part of me. And then it's like, well, that's not doing it. What if I make some zombies that I can have with me at all times because I can control them completely? And he's just getting away with it and getting away with it and getting worse and worse and escalating and escalating. He's not thinking about anything he's doing.
be stopped? Could you be helped?
No, I was dead set on going with this compulsion. It was the only thing that gave me any satisfaction.
He became so warped by his evil impulses that he even took a victim's head with him to work at the Ambrosia chocolate factory.
I kept the mummified head and skull of one of the victims in a carrying case in my locker at work.
Were you almost flaunting it?
Yes, but that's how strong the compulsion was. That's how bizarre the desire was. I wanted to keep something of the person with me.
That's insane. I mean, obviously everything is insane, but taking it to work in a locker, like it's also feels like that whole thing of like risk taking as a reward, like at the same time. I don't even know what to say about that, actually. It's it's crazy.
Dahmer exhibited some disturbing behavior early on. He began drinking heavily as a teenager, dropped out of college, was arrested for indecent exposure, disorderly conduct, and fondling a 13-year-old boy. Tragically, one of his murder victims would be that boy's brother.
Do you know what started it? Was there any kind of incident that you can remember?
To this day, I don't know what started it. And the person to blame is sitting right across from you. That's the only person. Not parents, not society, not pornography. I mean, those are just excuses.
His macabre 13-year crime spree finally ended when...
I mean, I talked about that at length in the other Stone Phillips, so I'm not going to get into it as much here. If you're interested in more on that, go watch that interview that I talk about. But this idea that parents aren't to blame, and no, I mean, I don't think they are to blame. But I do think it's not just an excuse, but there's a difference between reason and excuse, right? And there's influence there. So go check out that other video. It's with Dahmer and Stone Phillips interviewing him, but Dahmer's dad is there as well. So there's a lot about that kind of dynamic between father and son and his upbringing and whether or not his parents are to blame. So it's interesting.
This man, Tracy Edwards, brought the police to the infamous apartment. Like the others, he had gone there with the promise of money.
He was listening to my heart because at a point he told me he was going to eat my heart at that point. I hit him and I ran.
What was the turning point for you that made you suddenly realize that you had done something terribly wrong, something you should be sorry for?
It was the night of the arrest. I have no memory of what happened during the 6 hours before the last victim ran out of the apartment. I heard a knock on the door, and the police were there with the last victim. They asked me where the key was to the handcuffs. My mind was in a haze. I sort of pointed to the bedroom, and that's where they found the pictures. And they yelled, "Cuff him." I was handcuffed.
You imagine how much of a haze he must have been in for the police to come with his victim with one handcuff on, and they ask him for the key and he just points to his bedroom where there's like, essentially, like, for lack of a better term, an orgy of evidence. So there's some saying out there that at this point he wants it to be over and he wants to be caught because he's making, like, subconsciously, like, you're just pointing to your own capture. You know, he could have just gone to the bedroom and grabbed the key. I mean, at this point, the guy's cuffed. They're going to be coming in. They're going to be checking out things. And he's going down either way, but he was an active participant this way.
And it was just the realization that there was no point in trying to hide my actions anymore. The best route was to help the police identify all the victims and just make a complete confession.
When it was revealed that most of the victims were black or homosexual, people in Milwaukee were incensed. Many felt that was why he went after them and why the police didn't seem to care when their families reported them missing.
10 of your 17 victims were black. Were they racially motivated?
It was not racially motivated. It was not.
Here's the thing, like, yeah, I totally buy that the cops were, you know, less inclined based on race in the 90s in Milwaukee. But 10 of 17 isn't, like, crazy in Milwaukee. Like, that doesn't scream. It's not like it was like 16 of 17 or 17 of 17. 10 of 17 is barely more than half. So, I mean, he was just after a particular body type more than anything, and looks. And they said most were, of course they were homosexual. He's homosexual. He was after other homosexuals. Like, that's not prejudice. That's just him going after his own preference. Like,
a sexual preference. It was just to find an obsession with the best looking young man I could find.
While you just heard him say that his sexual preference had nothing to do with the killings, he has not come to terms with his homosexuality.
Never understood it. There was no use trying to fight it because I couldn't rid myself of it. It was too powerful and persistent.
Do you dislike it?
Yes, it's caused a lot of problems.
you got some other problems.
A lot of conflicts and unanswered questions.
The conflicts remain with him, and so do his compulsions. But in prison, he finally cannot act on his savage desires.
If you were out on the street now, would you still be committing the crimes?
Probably. If this hadn't happened, there's no doubt I probably would be. I can't think of anything that would have stopped me.
Boy, does he come across as cold-blooded. Did you see any remorse?
Boy, Bill O'Reilly. Boy, 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 does he ever.
Well, he says he's sorry, Bill, but I'm not sure he knows what that means. Tomorrow he talks about how he disassociated himself from his crimes and what lengths he went to hide them.
We will see you tomorrow, Nancy. Thanks for that report. And Inside Edition, we'll be right back.
Man, weren't these shows were weird, eh? Like the back and forth between the two, the stage
Tomorrow,
back and
more
forth.
of Nancy Glass's interview with Jeffrey Dahmer.
What do you want to say to the families of the victims?
I had no intention of hurting them. I was extremely selfish. I was only thinking of myself.
It doesn't get more 90s than this friggin' intro here, folks. Look at that.
It's the interview the nation is...
This logo looks like it should be printed on like a Greyhound bus seat.
It's the interview the nation is talking about. Serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer speaking for the first time.
Why was it so easy, though, for you to hide it all?
I bought security systems, installed them myself in the apartment. I had a video camera in the corner of the room.
Today, Nancy Glass continues her remarkable interview with serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer.
She was home alone when an intruder turned her evening into
we got the actual full-on TV episode here, so I got to do a little fast forward. Come on, Bill.
Just now to continue her exclusive interview with Dahmer, Nancy.
Bill, Jeffrey Dahmer is now in jail serving 15 consecutive life terms for his terrible crimes. Wisconsin does not have the death penalty. In prison, he is getting therapy, but he says it hasn't helped him. He spends his time reading the Bible and volumes of mail. I asked him if he was afraid of what might happen in prison, and he said, no. What difference does it make if someone comes after him, because he doesn't care if he lives or dies. He prowls gay bars, picking up men to seduce and murder. Jeffrey Dahmer says his desire to control and possess his victims drove him to inhuman acts on the living and the dead. He was a killing machine out of control.
How should you be punished?
Well, there's no question that I deserve the death penalty. I've wondered myself why I don't have the death penalty.
Wisconsin was a death penalty. It must be a death penalty state if he's wondering why he didn't have it. And if they did have the death penalty, it's kind of bizarre that he wasn't given it. 17? How many do you gotta kill before they give you the death penalty in Wisconsin?
That's what I deserve. I deserve death.
What do you think happens after you die?
Although I will say on record, I'm not a believer in the death penalty, actually. I was back and forth on that for some time, I feel like. But I don't think it's right. I don't think that's, neither here nor there. Well, maybe it is here. I don't know. What's that? Oh, yeah. But Eric said such strong convictions you have. But no, I don't think it's right. I don't think we should kill anybody. I don't know. I don't think anyone should kill anyone, no matter what. I think lock them up and leave them locked up, sure. I just don't think we should kill someone for killing someone. I don't know. I don't think. What do you think, Eric?
I don't believe in
death penalty?
I don't believe in the prison system, period.
Eric doesn't believe in the prison system.
Well, I don't like the word believe, because that makes it seem like I don't think it exists.
Eric wants...
I don't agree with I don't think it does anything.
It doesn't deter.
I think in general that the death penalty is not a good thing, no.
No, I don't think it's a good thing.
Right. That's the big unknown. I've had thoughts of suicide, but I just haven't been able to carry them through. So I don't know what the future will hold.
In the past...
I think it's less than a year from now that he is killed by Scarver, I want to say. I can't remember his name, sorry. I think it's Scarver. But he's beaten to death with a barbell.
Jeffrey Dahmer was very sure of what he wanted and how to get it. 17 young men would die at his hands. Later, when he made this confession to the police, he included crimes too grotesque to repeat on television, too gruesome to be believed. Dismemberment, cannibalism, and worse. And he was cunning enough to get away with it for 13 years.
Why was it so easy, though, for you to hide it all?
I desensitized myself to it. I don't know. I went to great lengths. I bought security systems, installed them myself in the apartment. I had a video camera in the corner of the room, installed locks on the doors.
What do you think he thought a video camera in the corner of the room was going to do for him? Like, if somebody's, like, I don't know, I guess if there's like a random break, I don't understand what the purpose that he thinks that having a video camera in the corner of his living room is going to help keep him safe from being caught for what he's doing. If anything, he's just recording evidence of himself, because this is like the late 80s, late 80s. So he's probably recording it onto like tapes and having to like store those tapes. And he's committing crimes on camera, if anything. Like, I don't understand what that's supposed to do.
Sirens and stuff in case anyone broke into the apartment.
There you go,
And
he's got sirens.
although his victims' body parts were in the apartment, when his father and stepmother came to visit, they detected nothing.
They said it was absolutely clean, perfect.
Right.
How'd you hide from them?
Everything was locked up either in the freezer or in the file chest. And so there was no evidence laying in the open.
Imagine having like someone over to your house for dinner and you just have a big giant padlock on your freezer. I don't know. I'd be a little concerned if I went over to Eric's and he had a giant lock on a chest freezer in his living room. What do you...
Stay out of my shit.
Stay out of my shit, man. Those are some expensive steaks.
There's nothing abnormal about the look of the apartment.
And he almost got caught after a 14-year-old victim escaped into the street naked and bleeding.
Mom, we talked
When
about this in
neighbors
episode
called
2, lady.
911, Dahmer managed to talk his way out of trouble.
During the incident where the police were called,
Nancy.
and the young boy was returned to you, that didn't wake you up at all? The police on your doorstep?
They were in the apartment. They were actually in the apartment, and there was a dead young man in the bedroom on the floor. I couldn't believe it when it turned out that they didn't see anything. I couldn't believe it. And yes, it did shock me, but not enough to quit. That's how strong the compulsion was.
If anything, something like that gives a guy like him more conviction. Like, I am invincible. Like, the police were in my house and they couldn't catch me. Because these guys are sociopaths, probably narcissists, right? It's like smartest guy in the room syndrome. And then you have the police in there and they still don't catch you. It's like, nobody's going to catch me ever for anything. They come into my house even, they're not going to catch me. Like, that's just got to add fuel to the fire.
Jeffrey Dahmer describes the unspeakable with no emotion. It is as if he sees his victims as objects, not people. In fact, when he confessed...
Nancy, he said that exact thing. It's not as if he literally said, when I look at them as objects, it makes it easier. So, great investigative skills.
Remembered every horrific detail of what he did to them, but he couldn't remember their names.
Do you ever think about your victims?
I've often wondered why I haven't had more dreams or nightmares about what I've done. For some reason, it's like it's blocked off from part of my mind. If I do...
I think, here we go again, I'm going to diagnose as my... But I think he's not having nightmares or dreams about it because he's a sociopath. I think he knows how he should feel and he understands that it's wrong and he knows that it's wrong. But I don't think on an emotional level he truly feels things like regret or things like that. So I think that it doesn't disturb him emotionally enough for it to come up in his dreams. Because what do you dream about? Things that are weighing on your mind, things that you're thinking about, and like that you feel a certain way about, right? You're not just, and if you're not attached or not emotionally invested, I don't think you're dreaming about it really, you know? Or not nightmares anyways. So at least that's what I think.
On the subject all the time, I wouldn't be able to function.
Jeffrey Dahmer prefers to hide from the difficult truth about himself. That has always been his pattern. Even during his trial, he found a way to tune out.
You're wearing glasses now.
Right.
You didn't during the trial. Why not?
I didn't want to... I felt uncomfortable looking anyone in the face. I didn't want to see anyone's face clearly. It helped me disassociate myself from what was happening.
One woman in particular really got angry. What did you think when she was doing that?
I couldn't blame her a bit. I'm surprised there wasn't more of that.
What do you want to say to the families of the victims?
I had no intention of hurting them. I was extremely selfish. I was only thinking of myself, my own pleasure, my own
I think you could cut out that first line and focus on the next three, but like, because you did have every intention of hurting them. Now, yes, you were extremely selfish and only thinking of yourself and all of that, but you had absolutely, did he intend to hurt them? And he knew what he was doing. Maybe it wasn't the goal, like, of his actions. The goal was, it was a means to an end, but he certainly meant what he did.
Perverted desires.
You know the families of the victims don't believe in your conversion or your sorrow.
Oh, right. And if I was on their end of the table, I wouldn't either. Ultimately, I am accountable to the Lord Jesus Christ. He'll be my final judge.
Can your sins be forgiven?
The Lord Jesus Christ's shed blood is powerful enough to wipe out even my sins.
When he had to deal with some of the terrible realities of his life, Jeffrey Dahmer's conversation would veer off into scripture. Like many other criminals, he claims he has found God in prison, and his daily routine reflects his need to shut out the world.
So I've got a whole episode on that, Finding God Behind Bars, I originally called it. And he's a big part of that episode. But it's all about this, like, jailhouse Jesus, these confessions, these conversions to Christianity after the fact, right? And what it says and what it means about anything from grace to forgiveness to all of that. Not just about whether or not it's legit or their heart's in it. It's more about, like, the idea of grace and forgiveness. And I think it's a very, very, very interesting episode. To me, it's actually one of my very favorite episodes on this channel, and it just didn't perform well, unfortunately, but I'll link it. I'll put a little link up here somewhere, and I'll put it in the description, and you should check it out. I think it's a really good episode.
I usually wake up at 6:30 in the morning, go eat breakfast, and then sleep until noon, wake up for lunch, and sleep until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, eat dinner, and then spend the greater portion of the night watching TV.
He is up all night because he cannot face the daylight and the monstrous crimes that put him behind bars.
I try not to think too deeply about anything, because then I get depressed.
That's a statement, yeah. If I had done those things, I wouldn't want to think about much either. I mean,
I try to figure out why this happened, what started these thoughts in my head at such a young age, whether this has any meaning to it, or whether this is all just a horrible coincidence, all the events in my life. I feel that I'm better off here than I was on the outside doing what I was doing.
You're glad you're in prison.
I think it's best for everyone, right?
100%. Okay, so that is the Inside Edition interview with Jeffrey Dahmer. It was the first time that he was interviewed on camera, and it was also, just probably several months before the Stone Phillips and his dad interview, which was the last interview. So he wasn't around for too long when he was in prison. Love to hear your thoughts on this format. Once again, who you think I should, or what interview you think I should look at next, as well as any comments or insights that you think, or did you agree with my takes on this? Do you think I'm full of it? Just drop it down in the comments. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and like and all of that YouTube stuff. I'll see you in the next one.